preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
In his second term, U.S. President Donald Trump has rolled out the most sweeping set of changes to the H-1B and H-4 visas in over a decade. These new rules have tightened eligibility, it's raised employer requirements, slowed down processing times, and revived restrictions for work permits for spouses. For Indians, who make up nearly 75% of all H-1B visa holders, this shift is not just a change of policy, it is personal. We break down what exactly Trump has changed, why Indians are feeling the immediate impact of it, and how these rules are altering life for Indian techies. The Trump administration last week made it mandatory that there will be social media screening of all new H-1B and H-4 visa applicants. H-1B is the visa that most Indian techies use to live and work in the United States, and H-4 is the dependent visa on which a lot of their spouses live on. Immigration attorneys in the U.S. are now reporting that interview slots at U.S. consulates scheduled from mid to end December are all either being postponed to March or later, or they're simply being cancelled outright. Now, this has affected people who have had to change their holiday plans, also those who were planning to visit India for the end-of-the-year family weddings, or simply to drop off their elderly parents, many of whom leave the U.S. and move back to India during the winter months. Last week, the State Department had issued a circular saying that all new applicants, whether H-1B or H-4 visas, will have to undergo mandatory social media screening, and they have to make their social media profiles public. And this is not a one-time exercise. They will have to backdate their social media profiles and make them public for the last 5 years. As a fallout, consulates are now processing much fewer applications per day because the social media vetting for each applicant is taking much more time. Overall, there is a major crackdown on immigration into America, particularly, as Trump puts it, from so-called third world countries, something which plays well to his MAGA base.
I've also announced a permanent pause on third world migration, including from hellholes like Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, and many other countries. I didn't say shithole, you did. Remember I said that to the senators they came in? The Democrats. They wanted to be bipartisan. So they came in and they said, this is totally off the record. Nothing mentioned here. We want to be honest because our country was going to hell. And we had a meeting. And I say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark, do you mind sending us a few people? Send us some nice people, do you mind? But we always take people from Somalia, places that are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime. The only thing they're good at is going after ships.
The H-1B visa is the backbone of America's highly skilled immigration system. Every year, American companies sponsor about 85,000 foreign professionals, mostly engineers, doctors, researchers, healthcare workers. Indians have dominated this category for years. They account for nearly 2/3 of all H-1B approvals. During Trump's first term in 2017, he brought about multiple restrictions on H-1B. A much higher rate of rejections and also requests for evidence or RFEs, revoking work authorization for H-4 dependent spouses, proposals to raise the minimum wage to make hiring foreign workers costlier, tougher scrutiny of IT consulting companies. Then when Joe Biden became president in 2020 and in subsequent years, many of these Trump-era moves were reversed or stalled. H-4 work permits, for example, were restored, processing times improved, and approval rates had stabilized. But now with Trump's return to the White House earlier this year, it has once again reignited his anti-immigration agenda. And he's done this with more executive authority. Many of the proposals that were blocked in the courts during his first term have now resurfaced in the form of executive orders. The Trump administration has rolled out stricter wage rules, requiring employers to pay H-1B workers significantly higher salaries, That makes hiring Indian engineers much more expensive. That pushes companies to reduce or even eliminate entirely entry-level hires. Trump has also made it mandatory for companies to pay up to $100,000 for every new H-1B applicant. For Indian applicants, this has become a major bottleneck. The revised rules define what counts as specialized work far more in a narrow fashion. Earlier, a broad STEM degree, that is in science and technology or engineering and medicine, that could qualify you to be eligible for H-1B. Now your role must be very tightly matched to a field-specific qualification. That has, of course, led to a spike in denials for Indians when they're applying for roles in data analytics, quality assurance, even general engineering. Processing timelines have also quietly expanded. Filing fees have increased sharply. Every visa applicant now has to pay an additional $250, hitting both companies as well as workers the same. So for families who are dependent on renewals, this creates an enormous amount of uncertainty around the legal status of their loved ones.
$100,000 per year. So the whole idea is no more will these big tech companies or other big companies train foreign workers. They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee. So it's just not economic. If you're going to train somebody, you're going to train one of the recent graduates from one of the great universities across our land. Train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs. That's the policy here, $100,000 a year for H-1B visas, and all of the big companies are on board. We've spoken to them about the gold card.
They love us.
Trump has revived his long-standing proposal to roll back the H-4 employment authorization document. Nearly 90% of all H-4 EAD holders happen to be Indian women, many of them who have successful careers in tech or finance or even healthcare. The US green card queue anyway is already decades long for Indians. Trump has now also signaled there will be no new exemptions. There's going to be no country-specific cap. There's going to be no fast-tracking for highly skilled Indian workers. This means there's going to be long-term uncertainty for families who have US-born children. Over 1.7 million Indians live in the US on some form of skilled worker visa or dependent visa. Indian students form the largest group in American STEM programs, many of whom are hoping for H-1B opportunities. Cash remittances from Indians who are working in the US contribute significantly to India's foreign exchange inflows. That has now slowed down significantly. Indian IT firms, as a consequence of Trump's actions, may have to shift more of their work offshore, and that could impact their overall revenues. Diplomatically, too, New Delhi must balance its strategic partnership with America on the one side, while also protecting the interests of its diaspora.
Fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.